Hey everyone, welcome back to the Gleemen. Vance here, joined again by Drew and Matt. We are here to do Matt's fourth first-time reader check-in. This time, The Shadow Rising. That's right.
Go Matt!
He has completed book 4, many fans' favorite book. We're going to ask him
It's pretty good.
What he liked, what he didn't like, his thoughts, feelings, opinions, so on and so forth. So, without further ado, Matt, what's your general impression of the book?
Whole lot to like. A whole lot
good.
to like. Probably, I think I liked this more than Dragon Reborn.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's good.
And that was my last favorite book, so...
Really? I thought you said you couldn't decide between the Dragon Reborn and the Great
I think it
Hunt.
edged out finally.
Okay.
You think, really?
Yeah,
You liked it over The Great Hunt?
I think so.
Okay.
You've hurt my heart.
Although that
but
may
it's
just
okay.
be the most recent book is my favorite book. Although I don't know if that's really true. 'Cause
Recency bias is a thing. That is definitely true. So
it's hard to tell.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
But there's a real turn between The Great Hunt and The Dragon Reborn. I'd say in The Dragon Reborn, it begins to become what it will be.
mhm.
I mean, I would argue that you're off a book. I would say this is the
You
book.
think TSR is where it happens?
TSR is, I think, and not just me, I think the community as a whole typically views this as the book where the Wheel of Time becomes
It
the
seems
Wheel
like
of
things
Time.
are happening in this one.
Right.
I will
Right.
say that. Like before, it was just like learning how to do things. I mean,
Yeah.
as we'll get on to later, he's still learning. Rand is, but
Right.
Yeah.
like I feel like this book sets things in motion, or not sets things in motion, but people take their places.
Hmm.
Yeah.
A lot of people, anyways. Maybe not everyone.
Right.
Right.
And the scope of the story, or the scope with which you're seeing the story really expands in this book.
Yep.
All right,
Yeah.
so I'll lead you off, Matt. What did you think of how Jordan finishes or segues Rand? You know, how he finishes Rand's time in Tyr and segues him out of that situation. What were your impressions from that part of the book?
I don't know if I get it yet. I mean, it was very strange. Like, he's basically pulling a sneaky on Moraine, but
Yeah.
that was just kind of a strange way to do it. I mean, I know the what is it? The prophecy or whatever says he shoves the sword back into Tyr for some future time, and I'm assuming
Yeah.
like Rand is unusual because, or not Rand, but the character of Rand is unusual because he has access to all of these prophecies, and he's just like, yeah, all right, we're doing it. We're doing this prophecy. We're doing this prophecy. I am going to make sure this prophecy is exactly how the book says. Like, or the prophecy book says that
Yeah.
They don't, do they have books? They have books. Anyways.
Yes, they have books.
They have books. I don't know. I'm
He was literally reading a book in like the first chapter.
Yeah.
anyways. So like they have a prophecy book. He's read the prophecy book. He's like, oh, they're talking about me. I'm gonna go do this to the letter. It says I shove a sword in the ground. I'm gonna shove this sword into the ground.
Right.
And he does it in such a way that like he explains himself and says, oh, I'm doing this so that, they know I'm coming back. They
Right.
better not,
Right.
they better behave
Yeah.
or I'll set them on fire.
Hmm.
You know, I actually liked how aware he was of the prophecies in this part of the story.
Mhm.
Because to me, it felt like he had kind of a creative interplay between these prophecies from the top down dictating how his life would
Yeah.
play out,
Mhm.
and him taking those cues
Yeah.
and working out his current issues.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There's nothing about that prophecy of him sticking the sword back into the Stone of Tyr told him why he ought to do it,
Mhm.
or what
Yeah.
he should accomplish thereby.
Yeah.
But he kind of creatively
The prophecy
accomplished a
says
lot with
he had to, but didn't say why, and so he just came up
Yeah.
with a good reason why.
Yep.
Yeah. So as prophecy elements in fantasy go, I liked the way this handled it.
Yep. What about you, Matt? How did you feel about the prophecies in the Wheel of Time so far? You like this trope? You don't like it, you know?
I like it all right, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's a pretty interesting way to go about a chosen one and a prophecy about the chosen one.
Yeah.
Where he just is like, well, I am the chosen one. I guess I'm going to live it out because that's the only way I'm going to survive.
Yeah.
If I go against it, destiny will correct itself or whatever. And just the fact that it's so strange because he's so political in his prophecies, the way he thinks about it.
Yeah.
Because I guess the prophecies do have a lot to deal with him being a ruler. Not just someone who defeats the Dark One, but someone who can lead against the Dark One.
Yeah.
It's not
and
just
that really
him.
seems to weigh on him.
It's not just him who the prophecies talk about defeating the Dark One.
Right.
So
that's a good catch.
Yep.
Pretty interesting.
So I think we've kind of covered the prophecy thing here to a pretty good point. Matt, I gotta know, who was your favorite character in this book?
Oh boy.
There's a lot in this one, so.
There's a lot.
Perrin and Fael's story was pretty good.
Yep.
But I think Nynaeve.
Okay.
Yeah, this is.
Well, it's hard to tell. Gosh, this is tough.
No, this is a good book for Nynaeve, though.
It really is.
Yeah.
Because she threw balefire at.
Oh yeah.
Like that's just great.
Yep.
She gets angry enough to throw balefire at someone.
Yeah,
she's also able to almost defeat what's her name?
Moghedien. Or
Moghedien.
Moghedien. No, there is no Dean in the Wheel of Time. It's always Dean.
Moghedien.
Yeah,
okay.
There is no Dean. There's only Dion.
Okay.
So
there is no
Moghedien.
Okay.
Is the actual pronunciation.
What was your, give me your impression from that struggle between them?
I feel like Moghedien is combat's probably not her forte. I feel.
Yeah. For sure.
Her being a Forsaken, she's probably better at something else.
Interesting.
Because otherwise, why would she be a Forsaken?
Right. So here we go. Matt's already calling out theory for the future. Forsakens have specific specialties. So just putting that down on video, y'all.
Maybe she's better at compulsion because she completely mind wiped them.
Yeah.
At the beginning, or of their meeting, you know.
Okay. Yeah.
And maybe she's just kind of like a sneaky person. I don't know.
I think you're definitely on the right track there.
Right.
Yeah, that's a very good read of her.
So
yeah, because her modus operandi is very different from the other Forsaken we've seen.
Maybe she's one of the weaker Forsaken, but she's better in other ways.
Okay.
What did you think of Nynaeve's realization right at the end of that fight that she was on par with her?
That was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That it's kind of like the White Tower. I can't remember who said it in the White Tower. Was talking about how every generation the Aes Sedai just get weaker and weaker. There's no real standouts in the people they get to become novices and accepted. And then all of a sudden, these people who meet Rand are just incredibly powerful,
Right.
or
well,
who grew up with Rand.
Yep. Yeah.
And-
Rand is fair.
I mean,
Elaine
yeah.
fits that boat.
Yeah, meet Rand is fair, but I mean also just there's an element to it that has not been revealed to you yet, but you're tracking in the right direction.
I mean, I
you're thinking
imagine
about it.
the power is probably somewhat genetic.
Mm.
Like, because they talk about Manethrin and the old blood and things like that.
Right,
And so
yeah.
maybe
There-
the old blood is strong with the power or something like that.
Well,
or
and
no,
yeah, there's-
we know it is because later on in the story of this book, oh, what's her name? Oh my gosh, I'm having a
Describe her. What does she do?
Varen. There we
Varen,
go.
okay.
Varen and Alana, is that right? Alana? Yeah.
Yeah.
They're scouting for
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Manethrin accepted,
Mm-hmm.
or
Well,
novices rather.
Two rivers.
Future novices.
You mean Two Rivers, but yeah.
Two Rivers, yeah. Two Rivers. And so they find like a bunch
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah.
have it innately, and then some that can even learn it. So you know, that area, it must be somewhat genetic.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The
Yeah, definitely.
proclivity.
Well, yeah. So
to-
you've already stumbled upon it. So we'll just confirm it. Yes, there's a genetic element to the power. And can you? I'm assuming since you thought about that, you've thought about why the Aes Sedai generally have been getting weaker over the ages.
because they're killing off or
They're
silencing. Or
well,
not silencing, but
it's
stilling.
not. Yeah, well, they're gentling men who are then just dying from
Yeah.
depression,
Yeah.
essentially, or and they typically catch them young before they
Mhm.
can really
Yeah.
channel. And the thing is these are only the men with the spark, right? Those who
Yeah.
are born with the innate ability to
Right.
start channeling at adolescence.
Yeah.
And so
So they're probably
And
yeah.
yeah, well,
so-
typically sparkers appear to be stronger, at least with the sample size we have from the books, than learners.
So
Right.
Just
we
not
haven't
always,
seen it
but
yet.
It's a trend.
We haven't seen it yet, but we know that women can learn to channel.
Mhm.
So does that
Yeah.
mean men can too?
Yes.
Okay,
Well, I mean,
we just haven't seen
you'll-
it yet. I just assume so.
Yeah.
Right.
You'll see that, but that's not
Well,
major news.
No.
right,
really.
but that's
totally symmetric across the genders.
yeah. But that explains how there are still these occasional super strong Aes Sedai that are born.
Okay.
Because
All right.
not all the
This-
men who have the ability to channel are being killed, because not all men who have the
'Cause
ability
none of them
will
learned.
ever channel. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Only the ones who have the spark are being gentled. So
Okay.
And this is the part of the story where Varen speculates
Mhm.
about the White Tower.
mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. She actually
Yeah.
does mention
Right,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
she speculates.
That's
Unintentionally
probably
culling
why
the
they're so
population.
weak.
Right.
Right. Because they're not just culling the men. Like,
Mhm.
yes, they're chopping the topper. They're chopping the upper end,
Mhm.
maybe anyone above, probably above 2-ish standard deviations of power off the men. But they're also doing probably more than that.
Mhm.
They're probably stopping the larger half of the distribution of women
Hmm.
from reproducing, because
Mm.
almost no Aes Sedai reproduce.
That's very true too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
they're probably
It's probably
pulling
only like
a
greens
far
and maybe
larger
some
proportion
blues.
of women out
Mhm.
of the of female channelers
Right.
out of the breeding population, to put it kind of crass.
Well, and it's
Yeah.
I mean, there's other reasons Aes Sedai don't have children or get married. Or
oh, yeah,
have
there's tons of
families.
valid reasons.
Tons of valid reasons. But I mean, yeah, she's
Yeah.
just speculating of all of this culture they've built
Mhm.
up around the White Tower, and this has
Right.
led to this issue they have. So before we
Right.
get further into a whole bunch more metaphysical spoilers and such, let's pull it back in. So what did
Good
you
call.
think of Matt and Egwene traveling with Rand to the Aiel Waste? And just in general, after that, what did you think of the Aiel? And really discovering their culture and what they are in this book.
That was a pretty good storyline.
Mhm.
I did enjoy that quite a bit. It also reminded me, I mean, I'm a huge Dune fan,
Mm-hmm.
so
Oh Oh, so this was
that very much
this warmed your heart.
Oh yeah,
reminded me of Paul's
Mhm.
ascension to becoming
Yeah.
his chosen one.
Right, yeah,
in
this
Dune.
is-
Yeah.
This is the Fremen homage of the Wheel
Yeah.
of Time right here. This is it.
I mean, there are differences.
Of course,
Like-
but I mean,
like-
that's why
like
it's an
more than-
homage, not a copy.
Yeah. Yeah. That was pretty great. I enjoyed that quite a bit. And the whole entire rivalry between the what is it, the Shido clan, and
Shido, yeah.
like everyone just hates the Shido. Let's all just
Oh yeah.
Well, like
dogpile on the
you've got
Shido.
Coplans and Congers in the Two Rivers, who are your quote unquote,
Yeah,
you know,
there's some
But they
outcasts
were
in
kinda
every
warm-hearted frenemies.
every community. I
Yeah,
guess.
but the Shido are that for the Aiel, except they don't really have warm-hearted enemies. They have blood feuds,
Yeah.
and that's what the Shido have with a lot of clans. So,
Oh yeah.
or a lot, is it clan seps? I forget how the family breakdown works there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Clans.
anyway,
There are 12 clans, and then there's like a ridiculous amount of septs within the clans.
and then there's the societies, and yeah. It's
Yeah.
super complex. So,
12 clans. Is that kind of a
and then a 13th
Abrahamic,
lost. Yes, a 13th
a
lost.
13th
tribe,
lost?
which is the Jinn.
Yes.
Yep. You got it.
But the Genaiel isn't really a lost tribe.
They're
The
gone.
12 came from the Genaiel.
Yes, but that makes that would make them a lost tribe though. Like that's the
Okay.
I think
But
Jordan
they
was
weren't
reading.
like 13th out of. There's
Right,
not
but-
like 13 of them.
Well,
though.
but that's the thing. Like think back. It's so far back in their past they forget the one that the 12 sprung
that they
from,
all came from.
which
Yeah.
Jordan
okay.
is using probably some
Except for
actual
the clan
historical
chiefs who
analysis
don't
of
go
the-
insane.
Right, but he's using probably some of the historical analysis of the 12 tribes of Israel,
Yeah.
saying that, well, there was one tribe that then grew into 12 just as the population increases.
Yeah.
And because
I
they
get you.
weren't necessarily writing everything down, they just lost that over oral tradition. Drew, would you
I
say that's a
gotcha.
fair assessment? Like,
Yeah.
I mean-
I think it's pretty close. It's pretty good.
I definitely think that's the theoretical
There's-
track he was going
There's
there.
so
Yeah.
much like Abrahamic and
Mhm.
like Eastern religion, whether it's
Right.
Hinduism or
And don't you love
Buddhism
how
or
smoothly he
Taoism.
blends them?
Almost as if it were like the real world.
Wait, what do you say, Drew?
Oh, I said, don't you love how smoothly he blends Western and Eastern
Mm-hmm.
elements?
It's yeah, I'm
Yep.
liking it. I'm liking the philosophy of everything, and
Yeah.
it's pretty good.
Fantastic. You know, I
I'm
just
having
wrote
a good time.
I just wrote an article very similar to this on the over at thegreatblight.com, everybody,
Hey,
Nablus'
hey.
website. So be sure to go check that out. Posted yesterday. But yeah, I talk about this in that post.
Mm.
So this is,
But-
it's just funny you brought that up because I literally just wrote this article and published it.
Yeah.
I have not even been to the Great Blight. I'm sorry, Nablus. I just have
It's
not.
okay. Naves will forgive you.
Okay.
He's that kind of
Yeah.
guy.
But yeah, it was great. Chosen One becoming like people accepting him for Chosen One story.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Him becoming the Alcair
The Karakarn?
Yes, Karakar.
Well,
Yeah, I was about to
Alcair
say.
Dal is
Karakar.
the place.
Yeah.
Yeah, the chief of chiefs.
Chiefs
but
of
then,
chiefs.
what is it?
He who comes with the
He who
dawn.
comes with the dawn. Yeah.
I can't
He's got
remember how to say
the
it.
2 dragons on his arms.
Yeah.
Yep.
Except they're like, I guess this is a dragon? I mean, do we even know what dragons are? Because the chiefs didn't even really know. They were like, well, we got these tattoos on our arms, and they're probably dragons, but who really knows?
Except they're not.
Yeah.
They
really
didn't seem to
tattoos.
know what a dragon actually was,
Right.
which I thought was a little funny. They were like,
Yeah.
well,
Well, I mean, that's part of the lost symbolism of a previous.
yeah.
Previous
So they have
age,
these
right?
symbols, and they don't even know what they actually
Right.
mean.
Yeah. Exactly. So Well, so I mean, we can keep talking about the Aiel, but what did you think of the glass columns? Everyone's gonna want to know this, so we need to go ahead and get out of it. What do you think of the glass columns chapter?
That was trippy.
Mm-hmm.
Him just living past life after past life
Yep.
after past life. That is a very interesting way to learn your history, and I guess I'm curious as to why it was even created in the first place as a
Aren't we
Terangrial,
all?
like, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so here's the thing.
I mean,
that Terangrial
learning about your
was-
past life is important,
Yeah.
but how does it pick which one you need to know about? And why does it stop at the legends, you know, the very beginning of the legends?
There,
Yeah, like why does it not make a
Go
full
even
lap
further.
around the? Yeah, right.
maybe
I mean-
they didn't exist prior to
It's
them.
almost. So, Vance, are you suggesting that it can take you as far back in your genealogy as its own history goes?
I would possibly suggest that it will take you as far back as it has a record of your genealogy into it, possibly.
Oh, so you think it's like
A
a
database?
computer,
Database.
like
Well,
a genealogy computer?
Could be. It could be. There are a lot of theories about what the glass columns are.
Okay.
We
There's-
don't
there's
know
something-
for certain, but what we do know
Yeah.
is that as a Terangrial, they were either created at the beginning of the Age of Legends,
Yeah.
in the middle, or at the end. But
Mhm.
we know that Terangrial don't.
We know they were made somewhere in
Yes.
the beginning,
Well,
the middle, or the
Hold
end.
on. But the thing is Terangrial don't persist throughout all of eternity. So at some point they don't exist. Is what I'm getting at. That's why they don't go all the way back, Matt.
I mean, they're built, so
Correct, but they can
That
also
makes some sense.
be destroyed. So,
yeah.
and then it
Well, so I think what you're getting, the distinction you're making is that
it's not going
they
to
most
go.
likely can't.
They're not
I
going to
mean,
go
They
back.
can't look. They can't look before their own existence.
Yes, that's kind of that's what I'm implying.
I don't even know
That's
about
what you
that.
were
I think
Mhm.
I like your idea that they're databases,
Mhm.
and so they had information put into them.
And that's possible too.
Well, yeah. Well,
I kind of like that idea.
But a
because
database
they
still,
have
like a database,
they have
wouldn't
flying
be-
vehicles.
That's true.
Yeah, those ideas go together. I
Yeah.
mean, but were the glass columns some sort of colossal database storing, possibly recording everything in the world from the moment of their creation
Mhm.
forward, and then choosing some slice of that to represent to you when you enter into them.
Right.
That
Yeah.
they obviously could only do that from the from
Mhm.
the moment of their activation.
Yeah.
There's something you'll see. There's something you'll learn about the glass columns later
Mm-hmm.
that implies they might not be a static thing.
Yep.
There might be some.
Anyway, Drew, let's just
something
cut that
resembling
now.
intelligence.
Let's just cut that now.
Which is a cool thought.
Let's just cut that now. That's
Yeah,
that's
I was-
books and books away. Let's let him get
I
there.
was
Anyway,
very carefully not spoiling anything.
Kind of were, but it's
So-
okay.
Kind of.
He'll forget it by the time he gets there, so it's fine.
probably.
Well, but
I'm
you
very
can already
forgetful.
argue it has to be quasi-intelligent to figure out what to present to you. Like,
Or
what's
at least
relevant.
have logic built in. I mean, a program knows what to do when it's presented with a certain amount of information, not because it's intelligent, but because it has a set defined group of processes that it follows.
Are we gonna?
Anyway,
are we gonna
we're
argue
not
the
here to
philosophy of
talk
how
about.
different you are
We're
from
not
that?
here to. We're not here to talk about algorithms and logic gates and programming.
Agreed.
We're here to talk about the Wheel of Time. So,
Okay, Matt.
so yeah,
Vance got to ask you about a really cool scene in the glass columns. I'm gonna cut back and ask you about a cool scene we skipped over,
yeah, let's do it.
Mhm.
which is the mechanism that brought us from the land of Tyr to the waste.
Oh yes,
Mhm.
he finally figures out portal stones,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe not figures
Well,
out. That's probably.
I mean, I wouldn't call that figures out.
He fell into the right way to use portal stones.
Yes, that's correct.
But
But
it wasn't
also,
without
like, he did
consequence.
insane amount. Is Rand all of a sudden a scholar? Because it sure seems like he is. It's that's one thing I have some criticism about is this sheep herder from the Two Rivers is all of a sudden a very studious scholar who knows everything about politics and is
No.
learning everything
Yeah,
about history.
That's your impression, but that's not what it is, bud. I'm gonna tell you that
My,
right now.
my
It sure
impression
comes
was that
across
he was
that
really
way.
ignorant and was desperately aggregating people who knew what they were doing.
Mhm.
Yeah, but
around
like
him.
he does all these things, and he has political.
Under advisement from people who are around him.
Yeah. A little bit, but some stuff he just did on his own.
Look,
like-
I mean, man, his political maneuvering in
And,
Tyr,
well, okay.
he gets help
And-
from Elaine
and
while
Tom
they're
murdering
snooking
people.
in the corners.
Tom just straight up assassinating people too.
That's fine.
But
Tom's an assassin. He could be a Gleeman and an
entitled to that.
assassin. That's fine. You don't have to have one career for your entire life. You can switch careers midway. It's fine,
But-
or late in the game.
so
Of
I
houses.
guess he did have Tom's help with assassinating people. I mean, he didn't want them assassinated, but
Tom
Tom
just
did it anyways.
Did it? Yeah. Anyway, I mean,
Yeah.
Rand's
So the-
political stuff, though. I mean, don't discount his little fling here with Elaine. Like, she's
He
been
learns a lot.
she
wouldn't-
has been
okay.
trained in politics her entire life.
Yeah.
And she's probably helping him out while they're over in the corner. Just
Oh, I
snooping
imagine
away.
so.
So
I imagine so. But the
His study session.
we still don't know what's in the letters, and not only do we not know what specifically is in the letters, but one of them contradicts the other. So, like, I don't even know what's going on there.
mhm.
I assume one is a very steamy love letter, and the other one is like, I don't know what the other one is. I just know it contradicts the very steamy love letter.
Is this where I make an in poor taste joke about you not being married?
Don't do it.
No.
Don't do it.
I think Jordan really likes to explore the point that men and women frequently don't communicate well with one another.
I mean, I think that's a theme of the Wheel of Time that Jordan uses ad nauseum. Well,
Yeah.
how could this be settled? Well, if they could only talk to each other. So even though we have methods for them to do that, we're just going to ignore them, and no
We're
one's
just going to pretend
they're
men are
literally in
irrelevant.
the same room and they could say words,
Yeah.
but they're going to sniff and huff and turn away from each other and not talk.
And men are unbelievably stubborn, and women are completely irrational. Obviously.
Right.
I will say
Blanket
Matt
statements.
again is the most relatable character who does the most normal things that you should do.
Hmm.
See an attractive girl, try and chase after her.
Mhm.
Although at this
Yeah.
point, I think
Correct.
I think
but
that
Matt doesn't have the same responsibilities on his shoulders as
no
random
no.
parent do right now.
Although he is speaking in ancient tongues that no one
Yep.
knows anymore,
well,
and has very good knowledge of like war type stuff.
well,
which
so
is
you
very
actually
interesting.
saw the process of that. What'd you think of his trip through the Red Door? Both
Do you
times.
think you got a good deal?
Yeah, you think he got
Well-
good deals?
Okay.
What do you think about him?
So
come on.
I don't know. Like we don't know. Well, I imagine we'll know in the future. But he has this fox medallion,
Mhm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
He was given that.
Right. Well, think
He
about
was-
think about his demands.
Okay, I'm trying to remember his demands. To be free of Aes Sedai influence.
Yep. Number
So
one.
maybe that's
That's
some
one of
sort
them.
of Terangrial
Hmm.
or something like that.
Could be.
That I don't know. I don't know what it would do though.
All right.
I mean, I have an idea of what it might do, but not like
Yeah. Right. You
I
don't
don't know.
have.
We haven't
yeah,
seen
don't-
it work
Don't
yet.
get hung up on it. What were his other two demands?
I'm trying to remember. That was such a. It was a.
So one
part of a
was
chapter.
to have his memories, the holes in his memories. filled.
Yes. Okay. So yes.
Yep.
So yeah, they're filled now.
That goes back to the thing about him being good at war. You said. All right.
Yes.
He didn't specify what he wanted them
Filled with. He just said he wanted them filled. He didn't say he wanted
Mhm.
his memories
Yeah.
back.
So I assume now he has tons of memories of past. Like I don't know. He seems to be really good at strategizing. So far, anyways. Or it comes up.
It'll be explored. And then the third one was, I believe he just said he wanted a way out, didn't he? Wasn't that demand number 3 just a way out?
Yeah. Which he really should have
specified.
Yeah. So did he actually die and then was resuscitated? Because you know, he had breath put into him. Not via the power.
Yeah.
Just Rand didn't do CPR, but he breathed into his mouth and
I mean,
he did half of CPR.
Half.
Didn't he?
Did he push on his? Did he push on his chest? I don't know.
Guys, I don't know.
Do they know CPR?
I haven't read that book in like 7 years.
He did something. Akin to CPR.
Well, they were doing some sort of CPR or something. They didn't use the power. So did he die? Because they talked about in, I think it was The Great Hunt, about how. No, it wasn't The Great Hunt. I may have been the
Dragon Reborn
next book. About how if whoever uses the horn dies, it can be used again. So is he free of the horn of Valir?
I mean, that's a valid question. That's a Rapho.
Because the only person that can summon people is the person who blew it last.
I mean, I'm going to Rapho you on that one because
we're not going to answer.
We're not going to answer that.
Okay.
You have to Rapho.
My impression of that instance was that Matt.
I mean, he doesn't know what happened to him. He just knows he got hung.
To be fair,
and now he has a cool little spear thingy.
Nobody really knows what happened to him.
Matt was dead within the parameters that, you know, like, he was not so dead that he couldn't be conventionally resuscitated.
I mean, maybe with their thoughts on like what dead is versus what like our thoughts on what medically dead is are different.
Right.
But I mean, you know, you're getting into medical semantics and all sorts of ethics and philosophical.
Yeah, I'm just making the point that I don't think it took anything supernatural to get Matt back.
I mean, it was right. It was the equivalent of someone being resuscitated from nearly drowning, right? Like,
yeah.
So I mean,
he was only hung. I mean, if you were able to, oxygenate your blood or something. I don't. Anyways.
Yeah. Anyway, like, there's a lot to unpack with what you're asking there.
Oh yeah.
And you've still got 10 books left. Many of them which are very Matt heavy. So let's just.
Ooh. Okay.
Let's leave you
because I am enjoying Matt now.
Good.
So that's good.
That is good.
Can you hear the dog?
Yeah, but it's okay.
Hey, she's fine.
Yeah, she's fine. So, we haven't really touched on Perrin and Fael's trek in this book, and some would say that that's the other half we need to talk about. So, starting with Perrin and Fael in the Stone of Tyr, and how they're acting towards each other. Then, how do you feel about their relationship?
Okay, so Perrin in Fael's story was great. It was fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Fael basically torturing Perrin was. I had mixed feelings about that, but I don't know.
She basically tortured Perrin. Interesting thoughts.
Okay,
on that one.
I don't know about torture. It's tough. Let me think. They tortured each other, really. They're mutual torturing.
There we go. There's the
mutual torturing.
The mutual culpability, which is usually just dropped and said. Everyone says Fael is responsible for everything bad, without ever putting anything on Perrin, even though Perrin makes his fair share of mistakes within their relationship.
I mean, Perrin's gonna go and have himself hung on purpose,
telling it to somebody who's basically just become his girlfriend.
Yeah,
that's fine.
And later wife.
Yeah.
I mean, holy crap.
Yeah, right.
That's crazy.
So Matt,
he's the first one to get married. So hey, congrats.
Yeah.
Congrats.
In this relationship, who did you kind of empathize or understand more? Like, you know, like
I understood Perrin more. I mean, I understood where he was coming from. He wanted Two Rivers to stop suffering.
Mhm.
I mean,
Finger in his head.
Fael thought only of Perrin, and you know she's in love with Perrin, and so that's fine.
Mhm.
But I don't know if Fael ever really truly understood where Perrin was coming from, with why he wanted to turn himself in.
Right.
Because Perrin didn't even tell her that he had actually killed White Cloaks until a little bit later.
Mhm.
And killing White Cloaks is probably enough of a reason to have himself hung, even if he isn't a dark friend. At least to the White Cloaks themselves.
Well, yeah.
So, you know, even if he didn't have the golden eyes and the wolf connection or any of that stuff,
Mhm.
Yeah.
that would be enough for the White Cloaks to want to go after him.
Right.
So
Definitely.
But
then you have
So-
Dane Bornhold.
yeah, but I just want to bring that up. You said you relate with Perrin more. And how many Fael point of view chapters do we have in The Shadow Rising? From her perspective, how many?
None.
Zero. So of course,
So, yeah.
everyone is going to relate with Perrin more. We're in his head for half of the
Yes.
book. Like, and
Yes.
so I'm just want to throw that out there. You've got a little bit of bias typically towards Perrin.
That
in
is
most
that
of
is
the
very true.
situations when dealing with Fael. On top of that, for a good chunk of, like, we know about Perrin's wolf powers. She doesn't yet. He
Yeah.
has not
Right.
confided that to her.
Yeah.
So he has hidden superpowers, which he uses against her
Yeah.
or on her and everyone around him, and then doesn't tell them. So
Passively,
I'm
in his
of
defense.
course it is passive. I mean, it's just something he can't help for the most part.
Yeah.
But
better
still,
than the way Matt
And
gains
yeah, and
people around
it's
him.
the-
she's mad at him for multiple reasons.
what is she visibly mad at him, or does she just smell mad?
No, I think she is visibly mad
In
when
some
he
scenarios.
is flirting with Berlane.
Oh yeah, he's so stupid. Anyway, yep.
I feel like that's gonna come up later. They're gonna
He's
be
so
married, and he's gonna go back to Tyr or something, and Berlane's gonna hit on a married man or something.
We'll see.
I wouldn't put it past her.
Would she do that?
Would
I wouldn't put it past
she?
her.
Well, okay. You have your
Yeah,
theories.
no.
We'll let you read
Yeah.
and find out.
She seems to feel that using feminine wiles to get what you want is
So,
fine.
quick aside, Berylane is pretty awesome though as a character. I quite enjoy a lot of her.
Yeah.
And she does get a little bit of a bad rap in the fandom, I think, for what she does between, especially like this is in this book, like she tries to go after Rand, and then that doesn't
Right.
work.
Fails miserably.
Yes, fails miserably. So then she's like, "Oh, let me latch on to Perrin,"
By the way, have you seen someone shot down so thoroughly? Like, wow.
Yeah. Yep.
She was way out of her league in that
I mean, I don't even think she had to be shot down. If I were involved in mirror having to
Right.
defeat mirror Rands,
Yeah.
Mhm.
like running away from mirror Rands trying to kill me.
Yeah.
Well, I guess they were trying to kill Rand, but
Yep.
you know,
Maybe
also
she
trying to
just
kill
realized-
me.
Mhm.
Yeah, maybe she just realized this is not a game I want to play.
Right.
Yeah.
So before
Yeah,
we,
I think
sorry,
when
go
you
ahead.
consider, so just real quick, I think when you consider the pressures that Berylane is under,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
it
Politically,
nationally,
yeah.
as a head of state,
Mhm.
and what little power she has available to her to navigate within the political world, her actions get a little more
Yeah.
understandable.
Yeah. I mean, I think that Jordan does a good job of setting that up. Like, she's in
Mhm.
Tyr because she's negotiating, trying to keep Tyr from sending their navy over to conquer Mayen, and the only reason they're not is because they're scared if they do that, Ilian will just pop over and start attacking Tyr and take
Yeah.
a
Right.
chunk of the city. So they're just like, well, what do we do? So this is a weird balancing act between these three
Yeah.
coastal
Yeah.
polities. So
Mhm.
So,
Anyway,
for sake
yeah.
of time, do we want to jump little closer to the end of the book here.
We've already been to the end of the book. What are you talking about?
Briefly,
Well,
yeah.
But there's a beautiful event that happens that Matt hasn't talked to us about yet.
That's true, but let's hold on before we jump. Matt, let's talk about Perrin and the Two Rivers, Perrin and Fael and Loyal, and the battle of the Two Rivers. Our first real battle in the Wheel of Time.
Oh, that was so great. Yep. That was the epic battle I wanted to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
That I've wanted since reading this. And we got a little hint of that in The Great Hunt when they were that chaos there.
But we kind of fade to Rand's sword fight in the sky. We don't really follow the battle, right?
Which was also very brief. But this we had skirmishes, tons of skirmishes, and we had an actual battle at the end.
Yep.
That the White Cloaks did not participate in. So screw them.
Yeah.
You know. That was great. And you had basically the opposite of swords to plowshares. You had all these farmers that were picking up the sword and willing to defend themselves.
Yep.
It was so great.
What'd you think about the Tinkers being there? The exact same ones Perrin had already met.
That has to be destiny. Has to be for the exact same Tinkers they met to show up. And then you have I'm trying to remember his name. Pick up the sword.
Aram.
Aram. Yeah. Pick up the sword. And then you have this weird guy, this Horn of Valir hunter.
Lord Luke, yeah.
Lord Luke, who's got to be Slayer.
What an odd theory, man.
No, he's Slayer.
Okay.
But Matt, they don't even look alike.
Yeah.
That's what I don't know though, because he looks a lot like. Who'd they say he looks like?
Who?
Related
which person? So there's Slayer and there's Lord Luke. So who does who look like?
Slayer.
Slayer.
They said Slayer looks a lot
like Lan.
Lan, yes. But I don't know.
They could just be buddies.
Like, didn't.
Now that could just be be that Slayer looks like a Malkieri.
Yeah, but like, didn't Lan have a whole bunch of brothers or something that died in the? I don't know. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but like,
there's something you found out
in
The Great Hunt that's pertinent here.
Yep.
Cause like,
I mean, so Matt, I'm just gonna tell you, you've got some good theories here. I like where your train of thought's going, but we're not gonna tell you because you need to read.
There's not much more we can say.
Yeah, there's not much more we can say without going into full spoilers territory. Like,
okay, all right.
Even if we give you a whole bunch of non-committals, you'll just say, "Well, now I know." So we don't want to. We want to just cut it off here and not spoil.
That's fine
for you.
Yep. That is fine.
Yeah.
So. To the end. Drew, to the end of the book. Let's go. Take us there.
Oh, okay. So, Rand has a confrontation that has been building up. Actually, there are two moments right there.
Yeah.
One sets up the other.
Yes.
Obviously coming out of the glass columns.
Coumadin.
He comes with the dawn.
Not Coumadin. Coumadin.
Couladin.
Coumadin is a drug.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So he comes with the dawn to the chiefs and breaks the Aiel. We can talk about that scene, which was actually pretty epic.
Yep.
If you want. And then there's a battle immediately following. Which one do you want to talk about?
I mean, I can start with Coumadin.
Couladin.
Oh my gosh.
Our blood pressure's fine. Talk about
him getting those tattoos from, I guess, from Lanfear, from Asmodean, was a very big turn I did not see happening. I thought he was just going to call him out and say he's not worthy, even despite the tattoos. But the fact that he has the tattoos on him, I mean, they're fake, but the fact that he has them, I thought was going to throw a bigger wrench into things than it actually did. But then all the clan chiefs were like, oh, he doesn't know anything about what actually happens in the glass columns.
Well, I mean, that's,
so there's no way those are actually even real.
Yep.
So.
Well, yeah, but you haven't seen the wrench. You haven't seen all the fallout from that wrench yet.
Yep.
And, well. Yeah.
I mean, which is going to happen because of the way the end of the book goes.
Some people are going to follow the Shido, because I know they left.
Yeah.
I imagine some people will follow the Shido. But that was very interesting, and I feel like we'll see Couladin, and I'm trying to remember the Roof Mistress's name. We'll see her a lot more too.
You're talking about Savannah.
Yeah, she seemed like she was a more of a leader than Couladin, even. So I feel like actually she might actually play a bigger part than Couladin.
We'll see.
Nice theory.
She just seemed like she was very in control, and like she had her own agenda even.
Right.
And was just using Couladin to even get her agenda. So
wasn't she married to Couladin's brother?
Yes, I think that is correct.
He gouged his own eyes out and scraped his face off going through the glass columns. Yeah.
Yes.
I think she immediately.
Which Rand saw.
Yeah, Rand saw it, but I think she immediately turned around and marries Couladin, if I'm not mistaken. Like he comes back and says, "My brother's dead," and so then she marries Couladin, like right there.
I don't remember that, but
I think I don't know. I mean, again, I haven't read this specific book in 7 years. I'm only on Dragon Reborn on this reread, so.
Oh.
Out of the the bowl amphitheater, and Rand chases him.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that dog.
Yeah. So I think that seeing Asmodean, or it was Lanfear first, really, right? Lanfear shows up, and it's like during this battle with the double dragons are about to duke it out, and then Lanfear's like, I can't believe you screwed this up, this opportunity, or something like that.
Yeah.
And so and then she says that, Asmodean is over in Roidion, mucking about, and so he gates over there, or whatever's gates. I think that's what they called it. Did they call it a gate, or am I just?
I don't think Rand knows. I don't think Rand knows the name for what he did.
Well, he creates a gate.
Yeah.
He creates a gate, and he goes through it, and steps on invisible stepping stones, and then ends up in Roidion. They battle, and that battle was so much better than every single battle in all the other books. The ending battles, like what the heck? You have this great big battle against Balsamon, and it was nothing. It was so short.
Yeah.
And the battle against Asmodean lasted for most of the chapter, if I remember right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he ends up severing Asmodean from the Dark One, which makes it to where he can go insane himself.
Which they had no idea could even be done.
Yes. So that was just crazy.
Yeah, agreed.
Did
you think this battle...
Very clever plotting.
Yeah, did you think this battle adequately depicted the scope of that Cyangreal's power?
I'm not sure. Because it doesn't sound like a ton of damage was done to Roidion. I think we heard that the trefoil, the tree, got damaged, I think.
Got charred.
Yeah, but it's still alive, right?
Right.
I think it's still alive.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, barely.
and or was that this book or
Yeah, that was this book.
Okay. But like, I don't think we hear anything about, because they weren't throwing balefire at each other.
Right, which is good.
They were just, so they didn't like destroy the city permanently, I guess. Like there weren't bits of the city that were just completely destroyed.
Yeah. Tumbled some buildings. It did comment that they had utterly shifted they had tilted the landscape in an opposite direction.
Okay.
And there was a mountain in the distance that was just obliterated. Like a whole mountain.
Yeah.
Like, get out of here.
Yeah.
Strewn across the waste.
So they did do a little bit of rearranging some furniture then.
Yeah.
Okay.
In spite of the fact that they were both doing their level best to to negate anything the other was doing.
Because for a while they were just kind of at a standstill. They were both holding on to the little miniature of
the show.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
And
who knows if I said that right?
But he had the little fat man statue and came out ahead and managed to sever him and managed to basically trap Asmodean and Lanfear in a "you gotta help me" situation.
Yeah, that was good.
That was amazing.
Mm-hmm. And man, Lanfear's the way Lanfear treats Asmodean there at the end, that is cold.
Yeah. And I don't think Lanfear was expecting him to be severed. No one was expecting him to be severed from the Dark One, really.
Yeah.
I think Rand was even surprised that it actually worked. He probably had the idea, but it was like, oh, that worked. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I think it just occurred to him on impulse.
Yeah.
Which is pretty threatening to the Forsaken. Like the fact that can be done is pretty threatening.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Maybe not so much for the women, but the men definitely.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, it was cool.
And now Rand has a teacher, and I assume we're gonna get into that quite a bit for the next book.
Yeah, and that's nice because I don't know, for me, up till this point, it's been a little strange how much. And you'll find out that there are some reasons, a little hand-wavy-ish. There's a little hand-wavy in there about why Rand is as capable as
how much Rand is just able to do things.
Yeah. But Rand is remarkably capable with the power, considering he's had no one to show him anything.
Yes.
So this gives a nice stepping stone for me into kind of full confidence.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh yeah.
Awesome, Matt. I'm glad you have loved this book. I think Vance hit it on the head. A lot of the community calls this their favorite book. I think this is probably my favorite book in the series too. Do you? Yeah. Any last comments before we kind of wrap for time?
I'm really looking forward to the next book. See how they deal with Asmodean being a trainer now,
right?
And basically a unwilling teacher.
Yeah.
For Rand.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be pretty interesting.
Awesome. I think you'll be pleasantly satisfied and surprised.
Okay. I like those things.
Good. All right.
So,
well, since I'm the only one with video left running, everyone, thanks for tuning in and following Matt's Wheel of Time saga, and we will see you again soon.